Trigger warning. This video is going to talk positively about Captain Marvel. There it is. The sweet sound of unnecessary anger because a strong woman is just kicking ass. Welcome to A Tough Act to Follow. I'm Preston, aka the Ploominator, and I will be your adventurous photographer here to help travel to the most mysterious places in Hollywood to reveal their secrets to the rest of the world. And before I get going, I just want to make sure that you and everyone else is getting the full experience of the Ploomination. So be sure to share, like, subscribe, and check me out on Patreon. Links below. Now I know that a lot of people have a problem with this episode's superstar, but really I don't think that's entirely justified because as I watched the movies to do the research for this video, I learned that there is a vastly talented actress in Hollywood, and her name is Brie Larson. And while yeah, I could have chosen a number of different movies to show her vast range of talents, I'm actually going to include a couple of the more controversial ones because it's a great testament to her skill. Brie has a vast depth of emotional range and a powerful ability to connect with her fellow actors, as well as a host of other talents that we'll explore as we discover everything that makes Brie Larson a tough act to follow. Now normally when I write these videos, I try to structure them in a way that will build each point off of one another, even if those points are wildly disconnected, because I like to also craft sort of a story within the narration. Some actors make this really easy to create, and then some other ones, like Brie Larson, make it much harder. And why, you ask? Well, it's because she's friggin' brilliant.
I like this one.
Brie does so much right that I have to pick and choose which parts of her talents go into the video, and that makes it a little more difficult to create. So bear with me because we're probably going to jump around a lot more than usual. But I'm going to start by talking about how Brie is just incredibly good at connecting with her castmates. She's still good at helping her fellow actors break those walls down because she knows how to exchange vulnerable moments to really make a scene work.
You realize that's enough to get your ass thrown in juvie.
Did you think I'd give a fuck?
You're out of here in less than a week. You're so much smarter than this. I know it's scary out there.
I ain't scared of shit.
All I'm saying is, getting thrown in jail is not what you want to do.
And this connection is the basis for every relationship in her work. We learn how Brie's characters interact with the world around her because of how she relates to each other character in the story. And these connections will foster relationships which she can use to then build the character even further. And the relationships can go beyond just the moments in the scenes themselves. She lets these connections have a history even if we the audience won't see that history. And all this work really lets us know that Brie really invests in those around her. Because of this, she's able to hold true to those connections in the face of high tension moments. She knows that connecting is the key to helping both parties involved get through the moments of heaviness or hostility.
I'm really sorry about your dad.
Why can't you close the door? She's a cutter.
I can fucking hear you, dick. Maybe I'll just cut myself right now and y'all lose your fucking job.
Come on, Jay.
Don't fucking call me Jay, you bitch!
Jaden, come on, please just open the door. If you just open the door, then we won't bother you anymore. If you're not gonna open the door, then we're gonna have to force it.
Okay, so then we remove all of that connection and just have Brie alone, working independently. What does she do best when she's by herself? Well, she's got this really cool ability to observe things. I know I just talked about observing in the last video, but I think it's important because Brie takes observation a step further. She's not just looking at something, she's seeing past whatever she's observing and actively thinking about it. Her eyes are almost constantly in motion and it helps us get into her head as we watch her see things. And I'm sure you're thinking, Preston, why is this important? Why do we care that Brie has somewhat twitchy eyes? Because she is almost always the audience surrogate character in the movies that she's in. What do I mean by that? The audience surrogate is the person in the film who we're supposed to view the narrative lens through. Their point of view, or POV, is our point of view. Their experiences are meant to be our experiences. In Skull Island, Mason, Brie's character, is our main POV. It is through her character that we see and gain sympathy for all the other characters, especially Kong, and it's those interactions that show us what's important and what we're supposed to connect with. We connect with her story because we observe it through her lens, and we're supposed to see the story through those eyes.
I'm trying to take a long exposure photograph, but my flashlight broke.
Oh, try this.
Thank you. Royal Air Force?
My father's. He threw it to me from the train as he rolled off to fight the Nazis. He was like John Wayne to me. Some kind of mythic hero.
Did he come back?
His plane went down near Hamburg.
This plays on how her characters react as well. Now when Brie has moments of laughter or sorrow, or even just getting really freaked out, we still follow her. She's not just connecting with the movie, she's also connecting with us, the audience. She does this through her clear and transparent intentions. One of the best things that Brie does is she shows the intentions to the audience so that we know what she wants from the story. And that causes us to empathize with her as we go through the story alongside her. We want her to succeed because then we feel like we'll succeed too. We're not ourselves when watching Brie. We're taking the journey alongside her almost as a part of her because she's built those intentions and made it really easy for us to understand them.
Okay, we don't want you to be more like Kevin, all right? That is not the goal. We just
you gotta
want
hand
you
it
to
to
be
Kevin.
happy.
He's in the game.
No,
He's
don't
trying.
go
I mean,
there.
he's keeping
Oh,
himself busy.
Dad.
I am
Honey, we
keeping
just-
myself just as busy as Kevin is.
All right.
I have a vacuum presentation that
All
I
right,
should be
okay.
working on right now,
All right.
but instead I've been here with you.
Well, I am sorry. We are not your dream parents.
And then this allows Brie to play. This really gives her a chance to take a character and take us, the audience, on a journey as she discovers and creates choices for the character to evolve past her initial intentions. When the earlier intention may not apply or is no longer possible, she finds a new one. She's really remarkable at this thing that I like to call intention dancing. Now that's not a real acting term, I made that up, and it rarely applies to most characters because a lot of characters in narratives have a single intention, but sometimes characters' intentions do change. It takes a lot of skill for us, the audience, to believe those changes, and Brie makes that skill work. You have to see the changes as they occur, and sometimes it's a really tricky thing to thread that needle. But Brie can thread it constantly as her characters gain new desires.
Thank you. Thank you forever. I'm okay now. And the salesman says that there's a lady who needs you more than me. So you're gonna be her friend. You're gonna be her best friend. And you're gonna play checkers with her whenever she wants.
Now I could go on and on about intention dancing, but instead I want to also look at how skilled Brie is at throwing everything I've just talked about away and still giving us a really nuanced performance. See, in the previous examples we've been looking at really open and vulnerable characters who are curious about the world around them, but not every character is going to be exactly like that. Some characters will be closed off, others will be avoidant, and some will actively push back against things rather than allowing their true intentions or needs or desires to open up. So when Brie, who is an actress who brings copious amounts of vulnerability to her roles, plays a character who is supposed to be standoffish, it can cause some of us, who are used to her usual vulnerability, to find her as still or stiff or cocky. So here we go, let's bring on the haters.
How long you plan to be in town?
Oh, I'll be out of your hair as soon as I track down the scrolls that are infiltrating your planet.
Skrulls?
Shapeshifters. They can transform into any life form down to the DNA. Oh boy, you guys don't have any clue, do you?
Whoa, hold on. How do we know you're not one of those shapeshifters?
Congratulations, Agent Fury. You have finally asked a relevant question.
Captain Marvel is a movie which has a complicated relationship with its audience, and much of this comes from people not being able to see past the outer layer of Brie's performance. But those layers are there, and it's what drives the journey through the film. Yes, she starts out very standoffish, and she's suppressing much of her vulnerability because of numerous reasons, and this causes a stiffness, which many people will say is bad acting. But Brie is just an actor playing a character. She's not Carol Danvers, and so she has to adjust some of her own qualities in order to meet the needs of that character. And stiff does not equal bad. I promise you, if you go into your lives, you know somebody who often starts their journeys stiff and then softens as they learn more and more about themselves, or you connect closer and closer with them. The same thing happens when we connect with Carol.
Where?
It's the Cold War. We were everywhere. Belfast, Bucharest, Belgrade, Budapest. I like the bees. I can make them rhyme.
Now?
Been riding the desk for the past 6 years, trying to figure out where our future enemies are coming from. Never occurred to me they would be coming from above.
Name a detail so bizarre a scroll could never fabricate it.
A toast is cut diagonally. I can't eat it. You didn't need that, did you?
No, I didn't, but I enjoyed it.
And all this comes back to the things that I've already talked about. Carol's journey of opening up is a process of her connection with the other characters, her first time observing some of her memories and experiencing the world around her as a reaction to those observations, and then jumping between intentions when she realizes that the thing she's fighting for isn't actually what she wants, needs, or potentially has. Carol is actually an incredibly vulnerable character, but she has to take the journey of the movie to open up so she can set all that free and really embrace the intentions which she suppresses for most of the movie.
Oh shit, we're going for a three-peat, yo!
You were smart and funny and a huge pain in the ass. And you were the most powerful person I knew. Way before you could shoot fire from your fists. You hear me? Do you hear me? Come here. Come here, girl. I got you.
And despite what many people have said, Captain Marvel is actually a remarkable performance. And yeah, I've just probably lost a few of my viewers just for saying that, but I'm not gonna lie about it and say it was bad. Regardless of how you feel about the overall movie, Brie's performance in it is incredibly delicately crafted, and it really allows the character to go on a strong journey in a realistic way. And it's not even her best performance, because while all these other movies are strong showings of her abilities, all of that gets ramped up when you add wildly high emotional stakes to a character. While Brie can bring vulnerability to a mostly invulnerable super being, it is wildly more powerful when she is a character who has effectively been broken down and is holding on to the only things she has left.
Poor girl. Well, I guess it must have been pretty serious.
You killed my baby.
Okay, take it easy. Okay, let me have a look.
Don't touch him!
Okay. Are you sure?
Am I sure?
And this is Brie at her finest. She pulls no punches here. She is using everything she has and is cranking those stakes and desires to their breaking point. And then when you add layers and layers of trauma to the role, it helps make the character even more powerfully real. The entire journey that Brie takes is not a physical one, and she effectively achieves her only physical goal before the midpoint of the movie even happens. Because we as people who go through traumatic experiences will still carry some baggage from those experiences with us. And to portray that trauma correctly, you have to find the relationship the character has with it and then use it in a way which justifies the character's reactions, whether those be standoffish in order to attempt to hide or to allow the character to implode because the trauma has become too much to bear.
Bye-bye, Skylight. Ma, say bye-bye to room.
And here's a funny thing about this. Room is the one movie on this list where Brie isn't our POV character. We don't see this through her eyes, we see it through Jack's eyes, and her performance is reflective of an entirely different perspective, which shows that she can adapt to help adjust stories when the focus isn't even through her eyes. She can make a character like Joy still be open and vulnerable, even when we don't get to get into her head the same way that we would with some of her other roles. So why do we like Brie Larson? 1. Brie fosters relationships. Brie makes strong connections with everyone else on the screen, whether they be through romantic relationships, nurturing relationships, or even antagonistic relationships. She builds those connections, and that allows her to effectively react to her fellow actors and know the appropriate responses to every situation. 2. Brie observes everything. Brie is not someone who just exists in a space. Even if it is somewhere that she's been before, she's constantly reevaluating and assessing what she has seen. And when she goes somewhere that is entirely foreign, she discovers it realistically, and it helps bring the audience on that journey of discovery with her. 3. Brie intention dances. Brie doesn't let the character's desires overwhelm the performance. She takes the story being told and pushes it along with her as the character goes through changes, even if those changes are dramatically different than where the character started the story at. 4. Brie knows when to open up. Brie doesn't allow every character's thoughts and actions to be transparent. If a character wouldn't be open to something, then they aren't, and this allows Brie to take an emotional journey just as powerfully as a physical journey. 5. Brie pushes the stakes. Brie's characters are constantly making high-stakes decisions, and it helps add to the dramatic tension within her movies. These stakes don't just exist in the narrative of the story, they can actually go beyond it to affect the character even after the danger or conflict has passed, but the trauma is still lingering. Alright, I hope you're still with me. I'm sure nearly no one left is listening at this point, which is a shame because this is the part where I help you see Brie as more than just what people have painted her to be. She's got a great resume already, and there are so many more great works to come, I'm sure. That being said, get your torches ready, haters. These are my 5 essential Brie Larson performances. 1. Short Term 12. This indie drama is what first showed Brie's talents as a serious actress. She's surrounded by a strong cast of fellow soon-to-be superstars, and the story this movie tells allows her to show both strength in the face of conflict and vulnerability in moments of grief. 2. Kong Skull Island. This blockbuster monster movie allows Brie to overcome the potential role associated with these type of movies and be more than just a damsel in distress. By taking charge when she needs to, Brie stands out in a stacked cast and makes for one of the most memorable performances outside of the obvious 100-foot-tall gorilla. 3. Unicorn Store. In addition to starring, Brie also directed this quirky comedy. It allows her to play a more fun and whimsical character and really gives her a chance to go smaller scale with her journey, and have moments of both humor and heart throughout the movie. 4. Captain Marvel. This superhero epic lets Brie really work through the emotional journey as she comes to discover her own potential. The scope of this one is literally out of this world, and its connection to the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe means it has plenty of other exciting epics to watch when you're finished. 5. Room. Brie's Oscar-winning turn as captive girl turned protective mother Joy Newsom is quite possibly one of the best performances not only of her career, but of any actress who has ever graced the screen. This movie is a rollercoaster of emotion, and her connection with co-star Jacob Tremblay will pull at your heartstrings from start to finish. And that is why Brie Larson is a tough act to follow. Thank you all for watching this video. If you were already a fan of Brie, which movies were your favorites? If you're now seeing how talented she is, which movies are you hoping to watch first? Let me know in the comments below. And if you like this video, please give it a like. If you do, I will do everything I can to help you get a unicorn. And if you know someone else who needs to see why Brie is a fantastic actress, feel free to share this with them. To get behind the scenes looks at how I make these episodes, check me out on Patreon. You can also get a cool shout out like these wonderful people. Thanks, Mom and Dad. And to ensure you never miss a tough act to follow, one to watch, or welcome to the party, pal, be sure to subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and as I always say, thanks for taking the time to get Ploominated.